Hey guys, it's Angie Atkinson today at queenbeing.com, and we are going to discuss how to stop being sad and start getting mad, which is a question that came from one of my span group members when I asked them for things that I could help them with. And this is, of course, my big binder of content full of questions and things that they want to know about. All right, so the specific question was, how do I go from feeling scared, alone, and sad to finding the anger that I need to take action to get rid of my toxic relationship? All right, so let's get started. All right, so let's just go ahead and start right here. The fact is that when you've been through narcissistic abuse, you don't often trust yourself, let alone anybody else. And for a lot of us, it's really only justified anger that's going to help us to push ourselves out of that, toxic situation. We feel trapped and everything else. Of course, a lot of people think anger is all bad, and sometimes that seems to be the case. But and honestly, while I'm sure that someone's going to comment and disagree with me that this is an inappropriate video or whatever, I think that sometimes for those of us who have been stuck in narcissistic relationships, we need something big to get us to take real action. We spend so much time being, scared, sad, alone, all that kind of stuff, and feeling not good enough that being angry can really kind of wake us up and make us go, "Are you freaking kidding me? How I've been, why am I still here? Why am I accepting this?" Right? Well, let me explain what I mean. Okay, by just kind of starting with a story from my own life. All right, so one day I was hanging out doing my thing and feeling very angry about something I had no control over, and I really absolutely hated the way that I felt. Okay, and I don't know about you, but for me, the effects of anger can become very physical. And if I allow myself to stay angry for too long, it's not really good for me or anyone else involved, if I'm being honest with you. But if I stay upset for very long, well, then I find that I get sick to my stomach. I clench my jaw, give myself headaches. I tense up the muscles in my body, and I get stressed out. And it's a horrible way to live, you guys. Nobody wants to feel that way all the time, right? So, what are you supposed to do? Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever experienced the physical effects of really strong emotions before? I'm guessing if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist that you have, right? Now, would you say that anger is a waste of emotion or a wasted emotion? Or is it possible that it could serve a purpose in your recovery from narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships? What do you think? So I asked myself, well, could anger serve me? Could it? And could it possibly be good for you? So I worked on letting go of the anger I was feeling as I thought about this because, quite honestly, I hate the way it makes me feel. And because up till now, I figured, really, it has no benefit for me, right? But there's the thing. Here's the thing. It occurred to me. Anger is sort of like fear plus courage sometimes. If I'm being honest, ending my relationship with my narcissist was initially sparked by anger, even though I was so miserable in the relationship, even though I knew I deserved better, I knew my kid deserved better, I knew that life could be better. I couldn't really, my catalyst, in order to get me away, I had to get angry before I could go. I had to find the place inside of myself that was like, okay, that's it. That's it. I can't take any more. That's it. And that's, I think, where a lot of us need to get to before we can leave a narcissistic abuser or get closure from a narcissistic abuser if we've been left or if we've already left. At that point, I remembered, before I lost all that weight, I don't know if you know this, but I lost 100 pounds a few years ago. And I thought, before I did that, before I made that huge change in my life that literally changed almost everything about my life, I had to get really mad at myself and at the world to get going. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but here it is. So this is what I think anger does. Okay, on a positive note, the positive thing that you can find with anger is quite simply that it can drive you. There is such a thing as constructive anger. Okay, and it is this kind of anger that causes you to stand up and create positive change in both yourself and in your life circumstances, right? So like with my weight loss stuff, I was like, I don't care if people think, I'm too fat to be out walking. I don't care if people think that I've said I'm going to diet a million times before and I never did very well, right? It didn't matter. I had to be like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm pissed off at society. I'm pissed off at myself. I've ruined everything. That wasn't really true, but that's what I felt like at that time. And I thought, that's it, And on top of that, I was scared because I had found out I had sleep apnea, I had high blood pressure, I had all this other stuff, pre-diabetic blood situation, and now all of those things are gone. I'm pretty healthy these days. So I think the point of all of that is sometimes anger can help neutralize your fear and power up the gumption that you need to try to get you through the hard transitions. The things that you might just be afraid to conquer without that little push of emotion, right? So from now on, I'm going to ask myself, you know, what is this anger about? Can I use it to, constructively to correct something bad in my life, right? And if the answer is no, yeah, I'm going to let go of the anger like that as fast as I can because it's toxic. But if it's a yes, well, I'm going to get started on getting those changes made. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how it can work for you. So I think that my new rule is that anger is only allowed about things I can control and not things I can't. Feel me? Same thing that you should think, you should focus on all the time. If something's upsetting to you and you can't fix it or change it, why would you let it upset you so much? You can't focus on things you can't make a difference with. Because if you do, you're just going to drive yourself nuts, right? Just my personal opinion, and also probably the truth if you're honest with yourself. All right? So I think anger that is justified and repairable might just be your soul's way of communicating with you when you know that you just won't tune into your true desires otherwise. Your soul kind of tries to help you out, or your inner self, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, the spirit, you can call it God, whatever that is for you, that connection, right? With that being said, let's get on to the point. Finding the strength you need to get from sad to angry, all right? If you need to do this. Now, if you've ever been, which I'm sure that you have, in an emotionally abusive relationship with a narcissist, then you know exactly what I mean when I talk about how stressful the idea of attempting to right the situation can be, right? Yeah. Uh, so, of course, while on the one hand, you know that you want and deserve better for yourself, right? And if you have them, maybe your kids too, right? But on the other hand, you know that it's going to be so difficult if you actually try to make that escape from the relationship, or if you have already made the escape, then you're like, well, it's going to be so, you know, it's so hard to let go. It's so hard to forget. It's so hard to move forward, right? Well, let's start here. You have to stop feeling like a victim. Okay, that's going to be your very first thing that you're going to work on. So I know things are difficult. I know how tough it can be, how tough it can feel to make such a life-changing, decision or change in your life. It sucks, okay? And quite honestly, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be cherished, comforted, peaceful, you know, just like everybody does, right? Everybody deserves someone in their life who cherishes them and loves them. But, just real quick side note from me to you, my friend, you can't expect to be loved if you can't love yourself. You have to be, you have to think you're worth something for anyone else to even notice. Feel me? All right, but right now, it's not the time to stand up or sit down and feel sorry for yourself. It's not time to sit down and feel sorry for yourself. It's time to stand up and to take action toward improving your life, right? I mean, why not? It's that, or what are you doing now? Is that working for you? No. I mean, maybe it is, but I'm just saying if you're in that place where you feel like you need to make a significant change, this is it, all right? Next up, you have to know that you have value. Okay, so it's time that you stop letting the narcissist treat you like a commodity that only exists to be part of his grand scheme. You feel me? So, whether you're like the shiny thing that he shows off to all his friends, or, you are the proverbial punching bag, hopefully only proverbially, and emotional, for his verbal, emotional manipulation tactics. Gaslighting, all that stuff. Or maybe you're the safe person, the go-to dumping ground or emotional dumpster, as I said before, for his insecurity, his or her insecurity, or venom or hate. You know what I'm saying? The fact is that you do deserve better. You have to know that. And here's the thing that you might not know. You do. Okay? I know you're like, whatever, you don't know me. How do you know that I deserve better? How can I possibly know that you deserve better? It's a good question. I mean, I don't know you personally. And the truth is that you literally could be anyone. So how do I know you better? How do I know that you deserve better if you don't know me and I don't know you? Well, because the fact, as I said, everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Everyone. Everyone. And that does include you. Okay. So are you with me? Let's do it. All right. So, how do you discover your personal catalyst for motivation and inspiration to save yourself from the narcissist abuse and to find the closure that you're looking for? Well, let's define a catalyst, shall we? A catalyst can be something that you experience, such as an event, or can be words spoken by another person, or a book or a movie that causes you to alter your life in some way. Okay? Some catalysts are simple, right? Such as a man who gets fired because he's always late. Losing the job could be a catalyst for that man to make sure that he gets to job, gets to work on time the next time he gets a job, or finds a job that gives him so much happiness and personal satisfaction that he never wants to let his company down, right? Simple stuff, basic stuff. But well, and look, let me just expand on that. The event of getting fired in an opportune time causes someone like this proverbial man we're talking about to make a change in how he acts in his life, right? Change is hard. It's always easier to do what you've done because there is comfort and familiarity. We all know it. It's part of the reason I stayed with my narcissist so long. It was familiar and comfortable, even though I was miserable, right? But leaving your comfort zone can thrust you into new situations and force you to deal with stuff in your life, new things, new ideas, new ways of handling various aspects of life. And it's really scary sometimes. And nobody wants to be like, okay, I'll go through that on purpose, right? And especially in a situation where you're trying to decide how you're going to live at home in your life from now on, or who with whom or whatever. If you were to take a survey of random strangers and ask them, hey, are you happy with your life? you know, you would get more no answers than you would yes ones in most cases. And there's a lot of people who aren't happy with their lives but because for whatever reason. But that's not always obvious on the outside. And that tends to be the case with people who have been in narcissistic abuse situations or who are in those situations. Because when you're dealing, with the roller coaster ride that is a relationship with a narcissist, you probably realize that life could eventually get easier and he just left already, as some people say. But you also, you may also be afraid of what's coming next, right? And let's be honest, you might worry more about how you will manage without a narcissist, especially if the narcissist is currently supporting or helping to support you financially, right? Let's be real here. But, by the way, if you head over to queenbeing.com, or actually right here on my YouTube channel, there's a video on financial abuse and how to recover from it. So if you're in that situation, you might check that out, okay? Some people don't know how they can change their situation, though. They don't understand how to find what they need, the inner strength that they need, the anger or the the motivating catalyst that they need to inspire themselves to kind of move toward the life they want. Sometimes when a catalyst enters your life and you're too focused on the ordinary, you miss it completely. And you might have to train yourself to watch for opportunities if you want to raise yourself, up and out of this situation. Keep your eyes peeled. What can work for you? Sometimes a catalyst enters your life and you're too focused on that stuff. And you don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to miss an opportunity if you have a change, an opportunity to change or get out or move away or whatever. You should look at the possibility of taking that. So just remember that change begins and ends with you, right? You can't change anybody else. If you take the time to look over your life right now at this moment, what would you think about it? If you really, could step on the outside of yourself for a moment, just step outside yourself and kind of look in from the outside and ask yourself, what do you think about what your life looks like? Think about the people in your life, those people who you're in a relationship with. Are these narcissists that you're dealing with? Do you have more than one narcissist? Why, is everything that in your life what you wanted it to be, what you hoped it could be? How's your finances? Does where you stand right now with your finances make you wish things were different? Does it create a hunger within you to have more? To be wiser about love, wiser about your finances, to be wiser about life? What about your job? Do you have a job? Do you like your job? This is an area where a lot of people are absolutely miserable. But they stay in that job year after year, just like you stay in a relationship with a narcissist year after year. Even, you get older, you get more miserable. And if you dislike any area of your life because it simply isn't satisfying, but you stick with it anyway, then that means you've settled, my friend. You know better, but we all have done it. I've done it, you've done it, we've done it. Okay? And I would guess that at some point in our lives, whether it was initially settling or it became settling once we realized what we got ourselves into, we've all done it. At least once with our narcissist, if not more times. Okay? At this point, you probably or could have given up on the idea that there could be more in your life, that you deserve more, or that changing things, is even worth the effort. If you dislike one of the parts of your life right now, but you don't change anything about it, then you're going to dislike that same part of your life in 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the road, right? Is what it is. You will have lost time and you will have missed the opportunity to make changes during that time frame. So if you want more out of life, including your freedom from a narcissist, emotionally or physically or both, and if you feel like you should have that, and the unhappiness with your life sits like a rock in the pit of your stomach, listen up. It's time to make changes in your life, my friend. Okay? So remember this. You get what you choose to deserve. You feel me? Choose to deserve. So choose wisely. What do you want in your life really? Physical signs that are like that. They're always like indicators that something isn't going to be the way you want it to be. Okay? It needs to be addressed. So ignoring those signs, those physical signs of stress on yourself and overwhelm and misery, etc. Ignoring those physical signs can lead up to the emotional complications as the stress of the matter weighs, more heavily in your life. So staying where you are in life, if you're not happy, is just going to lead you to be sad, depressed, resigned, miserable, and waiting for death. Is that what you want? Is that what you're doing? Don't you want to live a little bit? You deserve to. So the hole inside of you that aches for something more, for something better, it's never going to be filled unless you stand up and fill that shit, y'all. Okay? That's not what you deserve. It's not what anyone deserves, and life is not meant to be something that you just get through. Okay? It's meant to be lived with excitement, because life is an adventure, or it's a learning odyssey, if you decide that it is. Or you can sit there and decide that it sucks, and you can be miserable, and you can, keep catering to someone who doesn't even act like they like you most of the time, right? What do you think? Can anger ever be justified? Is this a useful emotion? Could you see yourself being healed by getting angry enough to move forward into peace, away from toxic people, toxic influences in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can come up with here. All right. And you know what? In the meantime, check out queenbeing.com. If you being right there, queenbeing.com. If you are looking for information about narcissism, narcissistic abuse recovery, all that good stuff. Okay. Yep. And then check out narcissismsupportcoach.com. Being right there. And if you're looking for personal one-on-one coaching or free 5-day email course, which I have placed there specifically for, and I designed it specifically for narcissistic abuse survivors. I'm actually working on some new products for that site as well, so stay tuned for that. And then you can also visit booksangieWrote.com. Bing! If you're looking for books on narcissism, narcissistic abuse recovery, or a number of similar related subjects, all written for victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse, including, by the way, the one on how I lost 100 pounds, exactly what I did step by step. All right. And by the way that I lost 100 pounds was a whole bunch of stuff fixed in my head first. Okay. And that's all described for you in the book. So, all right, you guys, have a wonderful weekend. I have still committed to 30 days, and I think I'm only like 7 days in. So I will be here over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday as well, maybe just for quick videos, but I'll be here. All right. You guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you tomorrow.